Alright guys, welcome to the video today. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the competitive future or competitive PvP future of Destiny. So of course the beta came out back in July, I believe. Around that time everyone thought that this game would go competitive on gamerbattles.com, which is basically a website where people set up little matches to play between competitive teams for either pooled money or any type of thing, perhaps bragging rights. They will be found a very good competition on gamerbattles.com, and basically what happened, they had all of these matches and all of these teams set up, but when Destiny came out, they're kind of anchoring on and believing that there would be private matches within Destiny. But eventually when Destiny came out, they're all expecting for there to be private matches, and then there wasn't, and then they're thinking, hey, maybe in a month there'll be private matches, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months, and as this time went on and on, eventually leaving people with the assumption that Destiny will never go competitive and that it will never have private matches. Of course, we have these tournaments that we've been doing where you make it so you match up with people, you get the true host of each team that live in the same area, and then basically what you do from there is you get them and you make them queue up at the same time, go in the same party chat. A lot of complicated things. There's a lot of broken parts of this game that you have to kind of ban and mention before the game. They're just not completely banned entirely, because like in private matches in Call of Duty, you can get certain things and you can ban them, meaning if they have any class with that thing equipped, it will not be usable and you cannot use it within the game. Basically all they need to do within Destiny, it has nothing to do with the structure of the game. It's not competitive. At its core mechanic, the game itself can be really competitive. You get in a lot of competitive matches when you do match up in these tournament matches that we've been doing. And just whenever you want to match up for fun against people, not necessarily for fun exclusively, but you know, you like the competitive aspect of doing that. So you do it and it's a lot of fun, and it gets really competitive. It gets down to the wire. It's a lot of fun. I love doing it with my friends. We would do this little schoolyard pick where we would get 12 people and then have captains that, you know, would be the true host, and then they pick 6 people for each team. It's a lot of fun, but I think if they had private matches within Destiny, competitive Destiny can seem, you know, not entirely possible, but it's definitely a, you know, idea to consider. The whole part of the game, it feels a little bit clunkier than Call of Duty. Of course, it runs at 30 frames per second compared to Call of Duty, which on average runs between 30 and 60, mainly in the middle mark. And then now that we moved to next gen, it's entirely 60. Advanced Warfare and Ghost were both 60 frames per second. So if you go from Destiny to a Call of Duty game, Call of Duty will seem really smooth, and when you go back to Destiny, it seems like a slideshow. So if they can bump up, you know, that locked frame rate from 30 to 45 and maybe even 60 in Destiny 2, that would be a lot better, you know, contention for being an MLG related game or a competitive game with tournaments and stuff. Basically what I'm hinting at is that the core mechanic of the game can be really competitive. There's a lot of strategies you can place around. For example, you have weapons of light with the defender bubble, and you can one-shot people with the LDR because it increases the impact or damage of that weapon. You can get a gold gun shot. You can either choose to have 4 shots with the golden gun, or maybe you want to equip knucklehead radar so that you can aim down the sights with your primary weapon and still have the radar up. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can go about things with Titans. You know, you can say, oh, maybe I want the Helm of Inmost Light for maybe a little bit of a longer range map if you want to zoom into B and pick off a couple of people. There's a lot of really cool ways of going around things, you know, blink, double jump, triple jump. There's so many different things you can combo with one another to be successful builds. Armor, agility, recovery, they're all relevant when it comes to the game itself and how the game plays. You know, just there's so many things I can't even express that you can change, and it will actually change the course of the game if you had one thing equipped to another. So overall, just a really cool game. I feel like supers may be taken out in competitive play. In Call of Duty, some of the kill streaks are taken out, I know that's for sure. So there might be supers and heavies taken out. Of course, heavy is kind of like an objective because you have to play around the heavy and set up for heavy. Personally, I do not think heavy should be in any type of competitive playlist because it doesn't really show who's better at the game. It shows who, you know, press R2 once and have a rocket track onto someone and kill them pretty much instantly. And if they do that, I would say, you know, keep Truth off limits, Gallahorn, stuff like that. Only keep the legendary rocket launcher, stuff like that. Just little cheap things. It will be rough because there's so many things you would have to outlaw for everyone to be satisfied with this game. For example, no invis, you know, no crouching around corners. Of course, crouching around corners, you can't really prevent that. When you crouch around corners with invisible, you're gonna go invis. You know, people blinking around everywhere. I don't think they would restrict blink, but that's a very good possibility because it does really add to the annoyance of the game as far as, you know, blinking shotgunners go. But overall, I do think this is very conceivable. You know, the thorn, different weapons would have to be nerfed and would be restricted upon, but the sole competitive part of this game is still extremely strong in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of great teams that have been formed out there, and to have, you know, some of these teams get placed on the map. There's a lot of big Call of Duty teams that are kind of famous, I guess you could say, famous within the Destiny community. They're really famous, and, you know, it could be a really good way for Destiny to broaden its experiences and, you know, widen up its horizons. It would basically expand the game to anyone beyond the casual gamer. So a lot of competitive gamers are kind of looking for a COD killer, basically meaning the game that will replace Call of Duty. Of course, Call of Duty will still be around for several years, but as far as the main first-person shooter, people are looking for, you know, another Halo, another Call of Duty when Call of Duty was in its prime. Just games like that really change how, you know, competitive games are played, because if you play Call of Duty and you go to Destiny in a competitive match in Destiny, even if you know, there's a team like Optic or FaZe, I know those are just like the generic teams, but I'm just listing some because you're pretty much all aware of those. If a team like that would go up in a competitive match in Destiny, they would stand no chance, and vice versa. But it's, you know, overall a really different game, something that, you know, could bring a new element to MLG in general, just something new to kind of freshen up the whole entire competitive community. That's just my opinion. Of course, like I said, a lot of things need to be nerfed and restricted, but overall the core fundamentals of the game are very competitive. It does have a really good chance at becoming very popular, and when games like this become competitive and popular in the competitive community, it will spread, and that's a really good marketing technique, at least for Bungie in my opinion. If a game becomes that serious and competitive, people are going to want to buy it and try it out for themselves. In conclusion, I want Bungie to add private matches with restrictions available, so you can restrict different things. Maybe, you know, higher up the frame rate, make the controls a little bit tighter, and that will really help compel the game and push it in the MLG community. That's basically going to wrap it up for the video today. If you did enjoy this video and, you know, you have something to say about what I talked about in this video, leave it down in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to check it out. Drop a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe so you do not miss a video in the future. Peace. Yeah.